Okay, in this video I want to talk to you quickly about what a text is, alright? A text is anything that conveys information in a recorded, reaccessible manner. Alright, so this video is a text because it conveys information. It uses signs, and now I'm going to have to expand this, alright? I'm just kind of going on the fly here, and my computer battery is dying, so I'm going to do this a little fast, but yeah, text, you have to use symbols, right? The language, communication is you have to have symbols because you're mediating what's up here, you're coding it into the acceptable system of symbols and signs, in this case English words, and expecting your audience to understand those signs, alright? To have the information of the English words, etc., to decode the syntax, the arrangement of the words in the sentences. So a text is anything that captures that stream of signage in such a way that you can record it, you can re-access it, and it can be viewed by a public audience. Okay? Now, a lot of people like to think in terms also that it has some sort of tangible quality, that you can touch it or that it has some sort of existence in the material world. So, I mean, think of what's happening right now, right? You're watching these photons bounce from your screen and that sort of thing, but you know, electrons are doing this, and they're messing around with the chemical and mineral properties of the chips in your computer, so they are having some sort of material impact. It's just very hard for us to see it, right? Because it's so micro, it's on such a micro level, but nonetheless it's there. So this video is a text, the billboard is a text, audiobook is a text. Can you when you finish the audiobook, can you go back and hear it again? Yes, you can re-access it. Somebody wrote the audiobook, right, or spoke it or whatnot. Can other people beside that person understand it and access it? Yes. Can you copy it? Can you make a second copy, a third copy of it? Yes. Yeah, it's a text. Okay, so your Twitter posts are text. Facebook pictures are texts. Can you copy the picture? Yes. Can multiple people access it besides the author or the creator of the picture? Yes. Does it have some sort of tangible fixed form? Yes, it's a text. All right. How about an airplane flying through the sky and the sky writing "Eat at Joe's" or something with that vapor? You know, is that a text? Well, it is for 5 seconds or whatever, because it can be publicly accessed. Can it be copied? See? It becomes a text much more definitively when someone takes a picture of it. How about if you write your name on the sand of the sea shore? Is that a text? Yeah. It has a tangible fixed form, right? It's using signage that people understand, that an audience understands. It's carrying meaning. It can be accessed by a public, and that's really the root of the word publish, right? So I'm actually publishing this video because I'm making it accessible to the public, to anybody outside my up here. So, you know, that words on the sand are text. It's just, they're very ephemeral. Now, the word is ephemeral. The ephemeral text is the text that's going to disappear in a matter of days, in a matter of seconds. You know, as soon as the wave comes, there goes those words. So that sort of thing is a very ephemeral text. Newspapers are ephemeral. You know, they last for a year or two. The way newspapers get bypass that is that you just print a ton of them. Okay? So if you're just going to print 1 or 2 texts, you really want to use acid-free paper, acid-free glue. You want to make that thing archival quality, right? It's going to last for a long time. But if you're going to print 100,000 copies, may as well use letter paper full of acid. I mean, just spread it abroad everywhere. So what if one copy dies out somewhere? You got 999,000 other ones. So text, you got to go way beyond the text being just a book. So when I see what you've written concerning my question to you, what is the text? You got to look at the material I provided, look at the examples there, and realize that I am using the word text very, very broadly. All right, way beyond just a book. So when I tell you, hey, find 5 popular texts, that's way open. All right, you could have covered that assignment with YouTube videos. Is a YouTube video a text? Yes. Yeah. It can be copied. It's in a fixed format. It can be accessed by a public. It's using signage to convey a meaningful message. It's a text. Now, books are texts. All books are texts, but not all texts are books. So let's establish the right the movement of conditionality here. All right, we'll talk more about the difference between a popular text and an academic text, but we should settle at least this one thing. So when you are sent out, as I often do, to find material, what goes? Anything goes, right? But some things look better when used as evidence than others. Okay, so how about a handwritten letter or a post-it note on which a number is scrawled about something? Is that a text? Yes, it can. It can be copied. It's in a fixed format. It can be accessed by a public. It carries information. It's a data, right? It has signage that can be understood by an audience. So that little post-it note is a text. Should you use it as support in your paper? Well, probably not. If you can find that same information in a published article from a decent press, use that. That looks a whole lot better. Okay. What about an email? An email from somebody giving you data or a testimony or an interview. Is that a text? Yes, absolutely. It's a text without a doubt. Is that a good source for a research paper? It might be, if you're analyzing email responses. But if you can find that same data, though, somewhere else, in a more esteemed and prestigious form of a text, use that second. It looks better. All right, but they're all texts. Now here is not a text. If I were actually in a room with you, and not through video, and I was just speaking extempore, right, just at the moment, and I didn't have any sort of recording device going, my words would not be a text, because although they do carry meaning, and they're using signage, and they're accessible to a public audience, it's one and done, right? Because as soon as I utter them, as long as nobody in the audience is recording it, it's gone. It has no fixed format, so it can't be copied or re-accessed. It's like you can't rewind real time, right? Or else did you finally find the time machine? Did you get past the Napoleon Dynamite, stage and get your time machine going? So, you can't do that. So, but speeches, impromptu speeches like that, turn into text as soon as you have someone with a recording device recording it. Then they actually have the text. Now, you can still make a case that it's your text until that person deposits a copy of what he or she recorded with the Library of Congress. Then it becomes the property of the depositor, and or I should say that litigation is probably going to come down on the side of whoever first deposited that copy in the Library of Congress. Copyright litigation. So, this is one reason why politicians stick to a script, or they won't answer questions, like when they're coming out of a building or something, and you have the reporters jamming microphones or whatnot up to them. They don't want to lose the ownership of their words. As soon as they say something, and they don't have a copy of it, but it gets onto that reporter's recording device, they lost the ownership of those words. Okay, so now they can always sue for slander if the words get manipulated, but where's their proof that the words actually got manipulated? Right? Because they don't have a fixed copy of it. So they're not necessarily being rude or anything, they're just being a little careful concerning copyright. And so when they're reading and they're staying very strict to a text and all that, that's probably a reason that they're doing it. Now, on the other hand, say a presidential debate, do you see the presidential candidate, reading from a script, and he's anticipated the questions of the other candidate? And no, but I can promise you that presidential candidate's team is recording that debate, and is turning it into a text. So, spoken words, unless they're being recorded, are not texts. So be very careful about using testimony or verbal testimony, or yeah, my friend said this, or I know we probably wouldn't do that anyway, but I do run across people trying to it's more anecdotal. It's much more anecdotal, but technically it's not even a text. So, but there are plenty of things that are texts that aren't books. And so if you get nothing else in this video, get the notion that this word probably is a lot bigger than you might think.